Thanks for joining us today for another Pipeline Executive Spotlight. I'm here with Ilissa Miller at the INCOMPAS show in Las Vegas. How are you doing, Ilissa?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great to see you again. Yeah, no, I'm doing well.
Thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome. I know you're doing some interesting things, and you're the president of NEDAS, which is kind of a new evolution helping evolve the transformation in the wireless space by bringing together a lot of different collaborators. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So NEDAS, we just recently rebranded. We're formerly the Northeast DAS and Small Cell Association. Obviously beyond the Northeast. And with the name NEDAS, right, this Northeast DAS and Small Cell really gives you the basis for what we're about. About 6 years ago, it was all started really focused on the in-building wireless community and educating real estate executives and professionals about the importance of wiring infrastructure to enable tomorrow's communications. And fast forward, here we are with IoT everywhere, 5G, right. Getting ready to be deployed and being deployed as we go, and that promises to have the same speed as fiber. So we clearly need to have fiber everywhere. So we've refocused NEDAS to be on that convergence point where wireline and wireless meet. And then if you draw a couple of circles around that and you take a look at each side of the industry and where they meet and the areas of expertise, the same guys that dig the streets to put the fiber in are the same type of guys that are climbing the towers to put the antennas on the cell site. So it's that type of evolution that we need to cross-pollinate and educate and reach out and help to spread the opportunity for innovation in the space.
Yeah, it's so critically important, especially as we look at things like IoT and 5G. In building coverage is a big missing link, especially if we're looking at industrial IoT.
Yep.
So is that an area that you're focusing on, or is it purely more residential, commercial buildings?
It's not necessarily limited to residential, commercial, or industrial. It's really the entire gamut, because we take a look at new arenas and stadiums that are being built, to campuses and solutions that require campus technologies, to building infrastructure. It's less about the residents, because that's more of a consumer-based play. It's more about the business enablement and the smart city capabilities that the convergence will enable ultimately.
So tell me about some of those use cases.
So some of the use cases that are out there, if you take a look at some of the smart community deployments, many of these folks don't understand how regulation impacts their communities and the way that things are built out. There are a lot of traditional ways that providers are brought into these communities and enable services. So you have the cable operators and the telephone companies, but now you have secondary, tertiary providers that are building infrastructure that works very well and symbiotically with all of these solutions to empower a lot more to happen. And the cost to have these deployments are extremely expensive. So finding funding from alternative resources and alternative companies is a way to ultimately invest in the future of our infrastructure. So educating smart communities about these challenges and the alternative solutions is really important, and showing them that they have options beyond what they traditionally are known to know about.
So how do people get involved?
People can get involved just by joining our events, by participating in our webinar programs. We make them pretty affordable and accessible to most anyone in the industry. We do have end user access for free to any of our programs. So if you are a buyer of these types of services, if you're a community developer, if you're in public safety, we want you to come and learn and really talk with these folks. We're not there to cater to you though, and that's a big misnomer. But that's also the big draw for our events, is because we're not there trying to sell something to municipalities or public safety folks. We're literally trying to educate them like you and I are talking. Yeah. And that's a real differentiator.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Now you were founded in 2010, so you're going into your 9th year now?
So iMiller, public relations. My PR firm was founded in 2011, and then in 2012 I acquired NEDAS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about the growth there. Is it, what have you seen happen over the last few years?
Honestly, I come from the wireline side. So when the opportunity came to acquire NEDAS and to run the association, I was intrigued because of the future of wireless. I had no idea that we would end up as at such a converged point that we are today, I truly am grateful, and the opportunities and information that I've learned and my career as a wireline professional have really helped to shape some of the messaging educational platforms that we're building for the wireless world, especially as we get more granular down to that municipality level, which is really important. I mean, big networks are big networks, and we're always going to need that, but really being able to deliver something for the end user to get a better quality and a better capability service, that's really key.
So tell me about your event. What are some of the topics that will be covered there?
So we have some really exciting events scheduled for 2019. I've decided to change things up a little bit and thank our annual sponsors and provide them a little bit deeper and more rich experience heading into the new year. So our first event in January is going to be a private event only for our annual sponsors, to get a chance to meet with the bigwigs of the real estate community. It's going to be held in Miami on a private yacht. We're going to do a luncheon event, and it's really going to bring these executives, these managing directors, these top level folks who do understand the need for technology, but don't necessarily understand how that equates to the bottom line for their businesses. So really having just casual conversations and really having that opportunity for discussions that we can really touch on things that are not scripted and that are not being made public, I think is really important for both sides of the industry to have. And that's what our goal is for our January event. And then going in through the rest of the year, we have educational events, social events, networking opportunities, and it really is about opening up the mind's eye to what is out there beyond what our comfort zones are and what we tend to know. We all work in our own echo chambers, and when we get outside of those echo chambers, that's where innovation, creativity, and opportunities happen, and that's what we try to enable in our NEDAS community.
You really can't innovate inside of a stagnant environment, and you really have to open it up to new collaborators, new ideas to really drive things forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's a lot happening, especially with the edge, right? And what does the edge actually mean? You know, we talk about, especially here at INCOMPAS, you know, edge data centers and edge networks and edge computing. But the edge is also wireless, and it's also that capability that we have on our handheld devices and any tablet or computer that we're working from, and being able to enable wireless to empower that edge. That's the promise of 5G, and that's exactly what it is today. It's that promise, and we need to be able to work together symbiotically to be able to implement that to make it a reality.
So who are the key participants in these events?
That's a great question. So we have major companies like Extenet, Zenfi Networks, we have Corning, Solid, various different companies, including RF technology companies like RF Industries. A lot of different types of organizations are involved. In addition, I do bring in other areas of expertise, such as Zayo Networks. We all know that they're, run fiber to the small cell.
Right.
They've been keynotes at our events. Edge Micro, building edge data centers at the tower edge. This is all innovation and new solutions that are coming out, so they're involved. Companies like Akamai and Facebook, they're very much involved with our association because they want to know how the edge and the solutions that 5G are going to promise are going to impact their business models. So it's a lot wider than people tend to traditionally think, because the opportunities are rich. But take a look at those stadium owners and operators. They all need to figure out how to enable 50,000 people to simultaneously watch a concert, take video, and stream it live all at the same time. That's a big challenge to overcome.
Yeah, it's changed the game quite a bit. I mean, there's some commercials even on TV of teenagers with VR goggles, and they're just living in a virtual world now, and it really has shifted. Because who would ever thought that going to a ball game or a concert would turn into millions of people broadcasting content, and these new technologies are really making that possible. But it takes a lot of planning and technical expertise and collaboration, between these different players as well.
Absolutely.
So I take it people can go to the NEDAS website to find more information, and you've been overhauling that as well? Yep,
we have a new website that's in development right now. I expect that to be launched before the year end, but there's always great fresh information there. It's www.nedas.com. We also have a bi-weekly newsletter that goes out to keep people informed of the the latest and greatest news and opportunities there. We do collaborate with publications such as yourself and organizations like INCOMPAS. So we do want to make sure that the community understands that we're more than just NEDAS. We really are about community, collaboration, and education.
Thanks, Ilissa, and we look forward to helping you get the word out there, and anything we can do to help, let us know.
You got it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome. And thanks to all of you for tuning in today, and we'll see you on the next one.